guys are seriously putting down money on who's gonna win, Dr. PeePee or Mew2King. They can put down $60 fucking, I think, on M2K. Crazy.
So the match was between M2K and myself. It was Grand Finals of ROM 3. The match was huge for me in a lot of ways, but I think to really capture what made it a big deal, what really made the match something special for me as a player and really establishing myself as a top player, I kind of just take a step back a little bit to the last ROM, actually. About a year earlier, so ROM 2, I broke out at that tournament. That was my first really big national, and I placed over Mango at that tournament. And I'd only been traveling for about a year, and I was still getting messed up by Hungrybox a whole lot, because that was the year when I started. Every tournament I traveled, I'd do well, and I'd meet Hungrybox, and he'd beat me every time. It was rough. Moving forward from ROM, everyone knew my name, and I had some up and down tournaments. I was finally able to beat Hungrybox a little bit later.
I have no clue what happened, but ladies and gentlemen, I do know that was the end. PeePee is your Herb 3 champion.
With him having the advantage over me even after that big win for me in Herb 3, the North Carolina series, Hungrybox kind of looked like, the guy to beat. Mango beat him at Pound 4, which is Mango's, kind of last hurrah in terms of being super try-hard, always wanting to win in a lot of ways. He's going Falcon, he's going Mario, and still doing work because he's, real good. M2K had a leg up on Hungrybox kind of for a little bit, but Hungrybox figured it out pretty quick, started beating him. Actually, it was funny, my first tournament, the one that Hungrybox beat me at, the one I traveled to, was where the Puff hate really started. The hate was so strong for him back then. And I know it's kind of weird because I'm talking about the set between me and M2K, but it's very important to have this backdrop because, Hungrybox was kind of the villain. M2K saying Puff's broken, he's gonna ruin the game, planking. I beat J-Man in a friendly with Puff, and so he was always talking about how the metagame was gonna be ruined. Hungrybox, didn't really know what to do. He wanted people to be cool with him. Ended up, people just got more and more angry with him. He wasn't trying to necessarily lame anyone out. He just kind of preferred a slower way of going about doing things. I mean, it's fine, but back then when no one knew what he was really doing, it was infuriating because everyone wanted to, play your Fox Dittos and hit your quick kills and everything like that. So the floaties were, really, really hated. So Hungrybox kind of been running the scene for, kind of the past year because ROM 3 was in November of 2010. And people were talking about me and M2K because I had been rising, even though I was, I was on the losing end again versus Hungrybox. I had really been coming up. Apex 2010 had been a little bit beforehand, and I had shown my stuff versus Wobbles, and I'd taken a game off Armada, which, I didn't think I was going to do that because, it was, oh, Armada. Even back then, he was this big deal because he'd played Mango at, Genesis 1, shocked the world, showed them that Europe was a big deal. This is only a little over a year later, and so I took a a match, and I was like, oh my god, I did this versus Armada, and I was so proud of myself. So I was like, well, maybe, maybe this guy can, beat him. Maybe, there was a lot of uncertainty going into it, so I had a bit of a showing for what I could do. Coming into the tournament, I'm doing pretty well. I wanted to play M2K in Winners Finals, obviously, get my shot there. That's what everyone thought. We're on a collision course. M2K finally overcame, at least for that time, his Hungrybox hurdle, which has been a tough one for years. My hurdle was Kirby Kaze. I knew he was good, I was smart, he was smart. Kirby Kaze and I were kind of similar, posted on the boards a lot, very intelligent, learned as much as we could about the game, a lot of discussion. He actually ended up stopping me from playing M2K in Winners Finals, and I think that he is one of the most brilliant players ever. I want him to really get to the top again. He played me and he had this stone cold, serious face, like I've never really seen him any other time. You know, he was out there for blood. He was out there to win. You know, it was impressive. He really shut me down. Kirby Kaze ends up beating me, plays M2K in the Sheik Ditto in finals. M2K really worked on the Sheik Ditto. He had kind of struggled with the Sheik matchup. You know, for a while Sheik was his most broken character before Puff. Plays Kirby Kaze loses. After Kirby Kaze beat me, I ended up being really mad. You know, I was like, I wanted to play M2K, I wanted to prove myself and all this stuff. And so I come in losers bracket, I'm like, I'm just trying to tear people up. And so I play Hungrybox, and even though he had the record over me, I ended up overcoming him, and I felt really good about finally being able to, you know, handle my Hungrybox demon. But I wasn't even focused on that. As the funny thing. Usually, you know, he's the one I gotta beat. But I was like, I'm trying to get up there and get my run back with Kirby Kaze first of all, and then play that set I wanted to play. So I got Hungrybox, and I kept moving forward. I play Kirby Kaze in losers finals. When I played angry back in those days, I usually played a little better. So that's what ended up happening. I really took the rage, and I mostly healthfully directed it into the match.
PeePee's mad. He's saying, I am salty. Yeah. This is losers finals.
So I've had to overcome some things, had to get mad already. You know, we're not even at finals yet. And we can see like how I've had the rise, but I've also had a little bit of rockiness, so there's some unsurety about where I am. There's another kind of crucial factor. Apex 2010 is again significant, actually. Mango really wanted me to be his successor in a way back then. He was like, you know, I'm not feeling this, I'm trying to kind of move on. We met, we played tons of friendlies, and he wanted to kind of teach J-Man, but J-Man wasn't also feeling playing as much, so he's like, oh, you know, I'll work with you. And so working with me involved being on aim a lot and trolling me a lot, but really also supporting me a ton too. He was like, if I was like, oh, I don't know if I can do this, hey, come on, dude, suck it up, you got this. He was as caring as he needed to be, but you knew he was ultimately kind of supportive when he was like that on my side. At least back then, it's a little different now. But he kind of helped create good conditions for me in finals, because Mango knows that M2K handles pressure not so well. So he started saying, oh, who wants a side bet? Who wants a side bet? Who wants a side bet? At the time, I didn't know Mango was doing anything. I was thinking, oh man, he's gonna put like a bunch of pressure on the match. But he was like, you know, I like PeePee, you know. I was like, well, ultimately, you know, he supports me, so you know, I like that. And so we were in, you know, New York. We were back then. M2K was, you know, super tri-state. So people were like, "Oh yeah, screw you, Mango, you're West Coast, and you know, not being cool with the tri-state. You know, we're gonna bet. So you know, people got invested real fast. So the hype was there, and M2K already kind of looks uncomfortable.
Don't worry about this. This is just stupidness.
I'd say he already looked a little bit flustered going into it. It's a little odd that he would be, because M2K had come to a couple of the herb tournaments that North Carolina had held, and we sat down and I'm like, you know, like I'm like the guy trying to defend the state. He just kept beating up on me whenever he came, so I was like, he wasn't too worried about that. We played it 2009, tipped off in Georgia, and I only took a game. We played on Dreamland. He beat me there the first time. I took him back, and I like 0 to death. The very first thing happened in the match I won, and everyone just went crazy, you know, because people didn't get off on M2K like that back then, like hardly ever, especially not 0 to death. That was pretty unheard of. So I talked that up, but it sounds nice. But you know, at the end of the day, I only took a game, and on my my best counter pick. So I'm playing M2K a year later. I only have this old footage to work with, so I'm, you know, watching the match, and I'm like, yeah, I mean, I'm better than this, and maybe he's better than this, and I'm getting what I can out of it, but I don't really know if I can do it. So M2K maybe didn't have so much reason to be worried even at the time, because last several times we played hasn't been too bad, and I've only been able to take a game. M2K maybe feels more confident, you know, he's supposed to be that spacey slayer and all that stuff, you know, hey, and all that good stuff. Everyone gets hype, we're playing. I'll be honest, it's been a little while since I watched the set. I don't remember too much of the back and forths. What I do remember watching when I watch it is when Waffles talks.
Mango put 60 bucks down on PeePee just now. Egg put 60 on Mew2King. Egg put 60 on Mew2King. Him and Mango bet each other. So right now, you know, everybody want PeePee to win, because we about to lose mad bread if this nigga lose. So you better win, PeePee.
Because, you know, I mean, first of all, I love that guy. Done so much for the game, so much for the community. I don't know if I'd be in this chair today if it weren't for him. Super shout outs to that dude.
Stack it up, PeePee. Oh, yes. PeePee is playing smart right now.
I think we were still pretty tight back then. You know, we were talking on aim and you know all that stuff, which Smashers used to do. He was there commentating, so I felt like I almost had that support, you know, from like my good friend that came out. I mean, it was really nice just having like someone else like that have my back. Like I had some people then that were close to me that kind of had my back out there. It was really nice. And so he was commentating, and I could hear him a little bit. I'm like, yeah. You know, I like that. So we're playing, and you know, it's very intense. The matches are intense. Mew2King's Marth and Sheik, and you know, he's like, oh, I don't know. And I'm like, oh yeah, you don't know. You know, it's all kind of back and forth and everything.
There you go, PeePee. One shot. Random, right between the eyes. His palms are sweaty. These weak arms are heavy. Bombing on the sweater already. Bomb spaghetti. No. Whoa! Oh, come on. Whoa! Nice.
And I'd take the first set. I think there were people that might have been cheering for me a little bit then, but then like, all right, you know, you need to lose. You know, it's M2K. You know, you proved you could do it. All right, but you know, M2K. He's our tri-state boy. You know, we got money. You know, all right, it's time. It's time. You gotta lose. People started pulling more for M2K a little bit later on.
Cats are trying to start, but they're not happening.
But didn't really slow me down. Like I said, the anger and the support and just all the emotion just kind of fused together.
I think mentally right now, PeePee has the edge over Mew2King. Mentally. That don't mean he's going to win or nothing. I'm just saying, like, his mindset is where it's at right now.
And I just played my heart out. I really did. One of the few times I can really say I did that. And I mean, you can hear it if you go back and watch the match. When I play on Rainbow Cruise, this is the last time that stage was tournament legal, by the way, because of me. And there's one point where the match is coming close to an end, and Waffles goes, "PeePee is smiling," and you know, because he was just like, you know, so happy for me, and like back then I didn't smile too much when I played, like I do now. Like, yeah, I'm a goofy looking dude when I play, so you know, I'm always having fun. But back then I didn't do much. It was very serious. You know, I'm really calculating my moves, and you know, it's like I said, I had the anger coming in and everything. But back then I was like, man, I'm really gonna do this. This guy is so good, and he's so good against Spaceys, and I'm gonna be able to beat this dude. And like, everything is coming together, that people are hyped. Oh, this is great. And so I was smiling. It was a wonderful moment for me. Definitely one of my top favorite sets, feelings, times, experiences. And the whole time I had a bit of a hard time punishing him when he was a bit higher % off of Shine. And there was the finishing part of the match.
Yo, there it is! Yeah!
People later were like, oh yeah, I wasn't sure if you could do that or, you know, anything like that. So I even had like a little bit of an innovation there at the very end. That was kind of, you know, like the resounding, you know, hey man, you know, I'm here, let's go. And it was great. It was really great. And I'm pretty proud of like the strong finish I had and everything like that. What that experience meant for me as a person was it kind of just showed me that, you know, I could really do it. I could learn to channel my emotion. It was the beginning of kind of understanding that sort of thing for me and having those great experiences and showing my work was paying off. Back then, you know, you took what you could get when you put all your time into this game, and say I've beaten one of the very best to ever pick up GameCube controller. I felt great. So that was absolutely fantastic. It began a series of tournaments, this one, then Winter Game Fest, and then Pound 5, which solidified my place as a top player. I was the last of the 5 people we can now call gods. It solidified my position as not only as a top player, but after Pound 5, the best player. It was the ROM 3 victory was huge in setting that off. Without that, without the ROM series and everything else, you know, maybe my storyline would be different, or maybe, you know, it wouldn't be quite as pretty as it is. So I'm very lucky that I got the chance to play M2K when I did, and all the hardship and everything along the way ended up being pretty good for me and a more powerful story, I think. And I taunt as he's dying. I taunt. And I got like it times perfectly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now watch. Go to the end. Go to the end. Get the Firebird.
Yeah, dude, that's the best. Yeah.
Yeah, there's the Firebird! Woo! Do not test me, bro! I know about this junk! That was such a big deal for me! It was such a big deal! You gotta test me! I was playing Smash at this point, so it gets kind of hard to say what I'd be doing without it. But I went to Wake Forest University, which is a really nice private school, and I started trying to do the med thing for 2 semesters. I kind of hated it. Did a really bad job. And maybe that wouldn't have been the case if I played Smash. Either way, really terrible time. One of the worst times ever for me, really. So maybe without Smash, I would have handled that better, or maybe I would have been in a different college, or maybe I would have like found something different I wanted to do. But maybe I would have just been way worse off. Maybe I would have gone there, done bad, not anything I really loved to fall back on, which would have been pretty bad. Like, it could have prevented me from being here today if I didn't have Smash, because when I felt really bad, all I could do was like think about the game, and that really helped me get through like really hard times. So there are a lot of different ways I could kind of talk about that, but yeah, Smash is I won't go so far as to say it saved my life, but I'd be pretty close to saying it. And I would also say that of any other alternative I've thought of, this is easily the best thing I could have done. And it's taken my parents a long time to figure out that this is a really good choice for me, but I've known even before the money and the sponsors were in it that this was like an awesome thing for me to do, so I'm incredibly glad I got to do it.
Me and Wav, I don't know, but we were just talking about who's gonna run this shit. I don't know, man.
It ain't gonna be you.
I don't know who's running it.
Because Rob won.
Should I tell everyone about bagels?
You know what? Sure, why not?
I'm not telling everyone about bagels, Frog. It was a joke.